Yeah, I hope mine stays put, Jenny.
So I take while you're talking.
We're recording. So welcome to this Zoom call. This is just a Q&A, Healy support. We're learning together. We're sharing what we're learning. We're answering questions. If we know the answers, we don't know everything, but we know quite a bit. And then we will seek out answers. If there's ones that we can't answer for you, we will learn together and share what we learn with you. So we're going to start with Jen had a question about the coherence program. Jennifer Gu. And the coherence program is a new program that they have recently put on the Healy device, and it's under the category bioenergetic support, or
Yes.
Is it bioenergetic support? Okay.
Yep.
So it's under that category.
On the pink app.
On the pink app, it's not on the resonance, right? Yeah, because I've looked for it on there and it's not on there. So it's microcurrent, tiny microelectric current from the pink dot app on a cellular level. And it's called coherence. And basically her question is what is it? Like, what are the benefits? And it helps with the heart mind connection. And it helps with your body's ability to adapt. So Marcus Schmika, who is the creator of the Healy, he's the quantum physicist and monk who created it, and he says it's for heart-mind connection and to help the body to be able to adapt. So to me, that means, sometimes logically we can know something to be true, or we can know that something is, we can kind of discern something, but we feel like off in our body, like our body's not like matching our mind, or we don't connect in a feeling way to what we know to be true. Like, I know I should forgive this person, but I don't feel like forgiving them, right? Like, I know forgiving is a good thing, but I'm having a hard time feeling forgiveness for them. So it's kind of that kind of thing, where they just, there's a struggle to have them align up. Pam, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, I was just watching, so I just Googled today coherence and Healy on YouTube. I didn't Google it, I searched it on YouTube. And there's a video by Steve Keller, who is kind of the head lead of our group of people. And a few things that I liked that he said about it were that it has to do with, just building on what you said, alignment, stability, flexibility, and connection. Mm-hmm. So I think it's like improving all of those connections, including that heart mind. And he also talked about there's 3 areas of a coherence, and he went into it a little bit more deeply, but he said those are the heart and intention and emotion. So to me, it sounded essentially like what you're saying, but it's finding homeostasis and balance within that heart mind connection and within all of that, and creating more. I liked when he talked about the flexibility, like us moving through something and being flexible through it instead of stuck or not fully understanding. So
I think is kind of like what Marcus Schmika is talking about with the adaptability.
Yeah.
So your ability to be able to flex with unexpected things. It sounds like it supports your capacity to hold, like, this is coming at me, or we have to pivot here. And it's not gonna like knock you over. If that happens, you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna flow with this. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna align with this. Sounds like a lot of it is about alignment. Yeah.
Which what were those other kinds 5 things Camden we do, say those again.
Yeah, he said it has to do with alignment,
Okay.
stability, flexibility, and connection. And it's like a 14-minute video if you want to Google it. And then he talked about those 3 areas of coherence are heart, intention, and emotion. So it's going to help with all of those things and creating that flexibility and balance.
And I don't know why, but because I'm me, like when we're talking about this, what's coming to me is it feels like it will help with creativity and manifestation. This is me, okay? So you guys feel how this resonates for you. No one is, there's not a person that is like teaching me this or that I've listened to. This is just like how it feels for me as I feel into how it helps. Like creativity and manifestation and opening up to possibilities and like really living your potential, really living to your highest potential because you're aligned. So
I love that, Melissa, and it actually goes along with something else that he said that I loved in there, which I think is part of it. He said, essentially this can help us be more tranquil as we flow through these things and move through them easier. And then he said that tranquility breeds creativity, and that is our creation power, and that is all of that. So I thought that was powerful, and like what you're saying.
yeah. So if you need like a tranquilizer, you just put
Yeah.
Sometimes we need
that or the relaxing or fatigue programs, right? Sleep.
Oh yeah. I love it. Okay. Anything else to add or any other questions about that Coherence app? I've used it once. I have not given it the time that I would like to be able to really experience it, but yeah.
I've used it several times and I probably used it like a week in a row, and I would definitely say that I was starting to feel the effects of that, and then it tapered off. So
Tapered off.
Yeah, and I was doing it hooked up to electrodes, and I think that's why my use went down, because it's always harder to like find that time to hook up and actually be wearing the electrodes for me.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I was finding it helpful and have a desire to get back there. So
awesome. Thanks.
So you think that that's one that you can do without the electrodes and just do it with the intention, like a lot of they say the pink ones.
Just put it in your pocket.
Put it in your
Yeah.
pocket.
Clip it on you, whatever.
Yeah. Speaking of that, should we talk like really briefly about the coil? Okay, I hesitate to bring it up because I have not done the learning about it that I'd like to. I like to feel comfortable sharing something with a group. I like dive in, and then my family doesn't see me for like weeks, and I might come up for air later. And I have not done the deep dive, but I can share with you. So they've come out with a Healy coil, and from what I've watched so far, it looks like it's just the device with these 2 coils in it that kind of counterbalance each other to get to like a -0 point of just stillness. That's like, we don't really need to know that, but that's kind of what they shared. And to use it, it works on the biofield, just like the Resonance Blue Dot app. So it's not anything that's hooked up to anything. And then it sounds also like you do not have to hook it up to a phone, that you just press the button and a program is downloaded into it. And it just runs, and you can just wear it and put it in your pocket, and it runs programs. I don't know everything about what programs, how many, if it's the same programs, but just so that on your radar, you know that there is a device coming down the chute that has those capabilities. Also, you're not hooked up, and you don't have to have a phone, which sounds like you can just go anywhere. You don't have to Bluetooth something. So that sounds amazing. And we'll talk more about that maybe the next Q&A that we have, where we've been able to learn more about it. Camden, if you know anything more than I do, feel free to share.
I don't know a lot. I think the part that sounds exciting about it is the being able to receive the frequency as if you're hooked up to electrodes without electrodes is
Okay.
kind of my understanding. So I think that sounds awesome.
Yeah, and they did say you can, just like how with the microcurrent, they're recommending only 3 times a day. With this one, because it's not into the cell, because it's into the biofield, you can do it as many times, run it as much as you need.
Like the resonance.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Exactly. So that's exciting. Oh, and they're having a Healy promo still. Like, so the promo that they started in February never really ended. It was gonna end the end of March. It's still going. So the Healy is being sold for the same promo price that it always has been, and the upgrades as well. And there is a promo that if you sell Cam, and I believe it's 3 devices in this promo period, that you'll get a free Healy coil. So
yeah, you have till the end of the month for that.
yeah, till the end of April. Okay, should we move on to the other couple questions, Cam?
Yeah, so there's a few that came in over Facebook just on one post. The first one was about adding frequencies. So it says how to add frequencies to water, crystals, clothes. So one of the ways that I have seen people do this specifically is to choose something and then like, well, here's my solo cup of water and ice, run something, put it here, and then put your Healy like on top of it or next to it. So you could do something like that. And I think you could do that with crystals in the same way, clothing in the same way, whatever you could think of if you want to like energize that with some type of frequency or vibration. So that's what I would do, is just hold the device near it or put the thing on top of the device. There also is a place, and I don't know if I can show you quickly, but there is a place. I sometimes forget how to do this. Okay, we might have to do this next time, but essentially you can record like the vibration of an essential oil and then utilize that vibration. So if you have something that is high vibrating, like a crystal, and some of those are already included in our programs, right? Like if you have the resonance, and it is through the resonance that you can do this, that you can capture the vibration of something and then utilize that as well. So I've only done it like once or twice. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing right now. There is a tutorial and it's about lemon oil. I think if you go to the Replenish Facebook group and you just search that in there for how to enter, just put like how to put in an essential oil vibration, and there's a video about it. And if people are more interested in that, I can find that video and link it and add that too. So you can kind of know how you can do that for any specific thing that you want to capture a vibration for. So whether like, I don't know, I live in Hawaii. If I was like at a waterfall and went and wanted that vibration of the waterfall, I could capture that vibration if I took my Healy with me and have that, and then utilize that in healings. So I hope that makes sense.
So would you have to have the product, like, so say there was a essential oil that you didn't have, or you wanted but was really expensive, is there a way you could capture that vibration without having it?
So what I would do is like something that we do in homeopathy, and I would write it on paper, like as if the thing exists personally.
Okay.
And capture that. I feel like you have to have like a good intention to trust that.
Right.
But I think if you have that, you can just make whatever you want. So like, yeah, if you've seen a picture of something and you're like, oh, I want that 7 wonder of the world. but I've never been to Niagara Falls, but I want to capture that, then just capture it in a picture or a paper. And that's what I would do. I would just write it down or find a picture of it and then put the Healy on that thing to capture it.
Yeah, because can I add like one thing just to reinforce that? Like in Reiki, we're trained, if you do a long distance Reiki session, Reiki, which is Japanese healing art using the quantum field, then you can take a picture of the person and connect with their vibration via their picture. That's just like one of the ways they teach, like that you can connect in with something that's not physically there with you long distance, because energy, everything's connected in a web on a quantum level. And so there really is no physical limitation to it other than your, whatever you believe, like, or your limits, right? That you've put upon it.
Yeah. And I did see that people are doing that with the Healy. It sounds like people were talking about it's a regular thing. I'd never heard of it, but they are taking like photos of people to do their like long distance sessions and capturing that in that way, which I think is also just the purpose of when you're entering in the information, you get to put the photo in to create that universal address for someone.
Right. And the photo, it's not really the photo. It gives you something to focus on. So you're focused and your intention is present and connected and solid. Like if you don't need a photo, just picture it in your mind. Like, but it just gives a focus, gives something to anchor to, because we're physical beings.
Yeah. Okay. It says more on adding things and groups.
Oh,
so I'm not entirely sure what that statement means, but I'm going to assume it's just when you're setting up a client in resonance. There's several categories that you can utilize, and it's like animal, plant, business, groups. So I have used groups for setting up like families in there that I'm working on as a collective whole. So anything that I'm working on as a whole, I will put in there. And I have put in, like, I've made a category just for like Camden's goals and just my goals, or like a specific health thing that I'm working on. I've made a category for that. So that then becomes my client. And I just find the appropriate label to put it under or not, because I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I just find the space for it and put in all of the information that I have or know to create whatever it is. So really, you're only limited by your own imagination and what you can think of to utilize as a client for the Healy to help. Since everything's vibration, everything can be affected by vibration and that resonance. So anything to add, Melissa?
No, that's perfect. Yeah, I feel like that answers the question.
I have a question.
I assume the same thing. Go ahead.
We're moving to a new house, so I could enter the new address in my house and start.
I would.
Yeah, me too.
Clean it out. Raise the vibe. Get it ready.
High vibrations. Yep.
So what would you search for to vibrate? All the Healy fields, or would you go into something specific like the flowers or gems?
So I would do all to start and see what came up. And then usually when I'm working with people and the Healy, I just tell them to expand what those definitions could mean. Because I feel like sometimes they're a little ambiguous and you're like, what does that even mean? But if you can expand it, you typically will find a way that that's going to connect with you to understand with your life. And I feel like the same thing can be true with a house. Like maybe fitness is going to come up, but maybe that house needs some life added to it or some vibrancy or like exercise of its own kind, right? And so, or maybe it's fatigued because that's under there. Or maybe job comes up and you're like, okay, well, what would be the job of a house? Like it's supporting a family and the people who live there, and maybe there's some old energies to move out of that. So I would start there, and then I would just go to whatever feels best. I feel like the Bach flowers are super powerful. I use those really regularly for myself. But yeah, I would just go to whatever feels right for you.
And do you do it for a longer amount of time?
So in general, they say that if you're doing like a physical structure, that it should be run longer than like for people. So they say in general that like those shorter seconds to like a couple minutes are for humans because we're not as dense as like a concrete structure. And so when you're doing something like a big business or a building, it might take more time for that frequency to resonate with that, or the vibrations to resonate with that.
Okay.
So if that's a general rule, I've made exceptions on both sides of that. So feel into it, but in general, that's the rule I use.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Yeah, that's great information. So like when you're running it for like goals or something like that, do you run the same thing, just all the resonance, or do you do like the Bach flowers or you know?
I kind of do it the exact same way. I kind of do
Mhm.
all, and then I'll just vibrate for whatever amount of time feels right on like the all search.
Uh-huh.
And then so when I do a search, I typically will go through, I will do all, vibrate that. Sometimes I want to know more, so I'll go in specifically into each of those 5 categories and be like, okay, what's it talking about today in Meridians 2 or whatever, right? What seems to be going on, and does that feel accurate? And then if you utilize muscle testing or just like even heart testing, feeling into something, I then will go through my list and I will ask, is there other vibrations that I need today? Is there more resonance I need? And if it's yes, in a muscle test, or like that's what I feel is right, then I just kind of like look down the list and test that for what, okay, Alaskan Gems is holding strong today, so I'm going to run that. And then I repeat that until I feel like I've captured all of that resonance that I need at that time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense.
So yeah, and sometimes if I don't have time, I'll just go directly to like whatever feels right.
Okay. So then how long, like on a goal category, how long would you say you run it? Like the default minute, 29 seconds or whatever it is, or do you just do a few seconds since it's a goal?
Yeah, anywhere between a few seconds to like 5 minutes, depending on what feels best.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you can get that wrong either. I really
No.
don't. I think just trust what you feel like you need, and then just do it and just trust. And don't second guess maybe what comes first, like what your first thought is, what your first like instinct or intuition tells you, and just trust that and go with it.
Yeah, I feel like the Healy is a great place to just learn to trust yourself and just do what feels right.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I have a question. Are you going through a list of stuff first? Do you want me to wait to ask this question?
You can ask
Sorry,
your question now.
Okay, I got on late, so I'm sorry. You probably explained
You're
stuff.
fine.
But I got my Healy late last year and I have barely used it just because I didn't realize there was an extra app. So I do have the Resonance, and then I reached out to Melissa and she told me about the other app. So all I've really done is kind of set up me and my kids and like my animals, my dogs.
Good.
And so this might sound really basic, but I might be technologically challenged. I'm like, how come I'm not figuring this out? So when I like I'll click on my name, and then it has like the information. But if I want to run a program, that's my biggest thing. Like it will just pull up everything. So, right? Am I like not understanding how to do this? So like if I click on my name, see, I wonder if I can show this.
And you're in the blue app?
Yeah, I'm in the blue app. You guys
Okay.
probably can't see it. but because it's going to be too reflective, right? You guys probably can't see it.
Yeah. So
Hold on. But if I go in, see now it's just going into the basic. Like, do you, I don't know why I can't even get to it. See, I feel like this happens all the time to me. Let me click on someone else. It's just pulling up the information. I feel like I have such a hard time. Like, I'm like, do I need to like get on that Facebook group? And is there like basic things to help me know how to run the stuff?
So
Or should
when
it be-
you're hitting your name, then where does it take you to?
Well, it just like the last time it took me to like the different programs, but this time it's just coming up with like the basic information, like my name, my last name, display, whatever.
Okay, so go to the middle button at the bottom that looks like a lightning bolt or like a,
Okay, there we go. And then go to the resonance analysis, right?
yep.
Mhm.
And then find the name.
Okay. That's what it was. Click on home. That's probably why. Okay.
Yeah.
Now do I hit like continue with database selection?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, and then that's my question is like, then what do I do from there? Like click a program or do like put my fingerprint in or that?
So did it pull up the programs?
Yes.
So if you scroll to the bottom, does it say all Healy programs?
Mhm.
So you can pick, and that will scan you for every single program category and program in there. Or if you
Okay.
have something very specific that you want to address, like someone is sick or someone has a headache or someone just had surgery and they have a wound, you can go into the specific category for that. So like a wound would be like the skin programs. There's wound
Okay.
programs in there, and you can scan to
Okay.
see which one they need for that. The pain would be for like headaches or body pain, and then anxiety and depression are in there, or
Okay.
sleep. That's if you know like, hey, this is going on and I
Okay.
want to just see like, what do I need in here and how is it going to help me? Or if you're like, I want to go by the intelligence of the Healy first to see what the Healy says the program category I need is first, then you can go to all Healy programs and then it will tell you.
Okay, that's my question. So I did all Healy programs and then you have to put your fingerprint in there, right?
Yeah, you have to touch it for it to run.
So what about like if I'm doing it for like a kid that's not at the house at the time or whatever? So then do I just put my finger on there?
You are proxy for them, and your intention, because it'll be their name anyway, it'll have their name and maybe their picture and their birth date, so the Healy knows it's them.
Yeah.
Your finger's just proxy, and your intention is that you're scanning it for them. It's like people think it's actually scanning their thumb. It's not. It's just activating the button, and it has you hold it so that you don't like touch it and then you're like talking to your kid, and it wants your like focus and energy there with it.
Okay. No, that makes sense. That's really helpful because I'm like, I was having my kids like put their fingerprint when I was running programs, and I'm like, this doesn't make a ton of sense because I think I had heard you say like you do it for clients in other locations, and I'm like, that's why I'm glad I'm on here because I'm getting answers to questions that
Totally.
Thank you for going through that. I know that seems self-explanatory, but to me,
No. No, we're happy. That's why we're doing this, to answer any questions, because there's a learning curve with this. I mean, it's technology. And so we're all in this together learning it. So we're happy to explain it.
Thank you so much. Okay. And then, so you guys, do you just select the different, like what you were saying, like just different amounts of time based on, like, I mean, I do energy testing on a very basic level, and that's kind of how I figure things out. So is that what I would do to just test for time or whatever? Okay.
Yeah, muscle test. And Jenny and Leanne, if you muscle test, you can muscle test. I need 1 minute or less. I need 5 minutes or less. I need, right? And then you go to the one that tested strong, the last one that was strong.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. That was really helpful.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And Melissa, it's Melissa, right?
Yes, yes.
Is that what I'm seeing down there?
Yeah.
There are a lot of training videos. And then also if you go to the hour-long setup video with Steve Keller and someone else for like he does the whole unboxing. He goes through an entire resonance session.
Oh, awesome. And is that
So,
on
like,
the Facebook?
It will be somewhere in there.
In the Facebook?
replenish group.
Yeah.
Am I,
If I can find it, I'll post it in our Healy with Friends group for you.
I think I'm just in the Healy with Friends. Do I need to be added to a different group?
It might be helpful for you. You might enjoy that. It's a bigger pool of people with years more experience using this technology from all around the world. And also some practitioners that are like time waiver practitioners that like do it as a health, like they're a health practitioner. So I was just thinking, I can invite you. You're in the Healy with Friends group.
Yeah,
Okay.
your group. Yeah.
Okay. I'll get in there and invite you.
Awesome.
Maybe I'll do it right now while Camden's answering the other question that she
Thank
got.
you. That's great. And then I'll look for that video. Tell me the name of the person again. Steve, did you say?
Steve Keller is his
Okay.
name. And it's a
Okay.
whole like unboxing. It's like more than an hour long. You can probably skip the whole first part, but he goes through like, this is how you set up a client. This is how you run the scans, like step by step.
That's what I should have done in the first place. Instead, I kind of just like,
Yeah.
fiddled around and kind of,
You're
that's
not
why I
doing-
obviously don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just, I just started running programs on everyone.
Yeah, that Replenish group has a lot of resources and also access to the training videos in there. So if you just search in that group, anything you're looking for, you'll really find a lot in there, especially as you're learning more.
Thank you.
Melissa,
Yeah.
are you Bankett or Smith Wells?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I'm adding you as a friend. So sorry, guys. So accept it. As soon as you accept it, then I can add you to the group.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next thing someone asked for more on the other programs in resonance that don't come up in scan. Example, the Bach flower, salts, amino acids, etc. If scan those which always seem accurate, would you want frequencies for number of days or rescan every day? Yeah, I wish that these things came up as part of the scan. I don't know why they don't, because they are often fairly high for me of needing them. But like I said, I just go through and muscle test what I need or feel into that if you don't muscle test, what feels good for you that day. I do it different ways. Like I feel really connected to Bach flowers right now, and I feel like that's really helpful. So I actually will run that for like 12 to 29 minutes, a lot of days, not hooked up to anything. And that's just personally how I feel. So I do that one a lot of days. And then there's other ones I just test and I'll do for one day or a couple days. So it always goes back to using your intuition and doing what feels best for you, because there's no necessarily right or wrong way. You're getting benefits even if you just use it one time. If your number is really high, like it's in the 70 or 80%, that little number in the corner, that's how much you need that frequency at that moment. Like, yeah, I might consider running that for a week at a time and then retesting. I notice even if I scan every day, I've gone through a few cycles recently where it'll be the same programs for 2 or 3 weeks. And then it's like, yep, you're done now. We're switching to something else. And so I just go back to trusting that and trusting myself. And I know I'm not doing harm. So I think it all works out in the end.
Yeah, like I had a weird stomach ache for like 6 weeks. I thought I had COVID, but I don't have antibodies, so I didn't have it. But my liver kept coming up. Like it wasn't always the top, but it was in there every time I scanned. And I was like, oh, I totally need to be supporting my liver because it's coming up more than once. And so I ran it a bunch of times, and then I focused on physical support for it too. And it hasn't come up since.
Yeah. Okay, and then it says, okay, the new coil, we already talked about that. says the Aura program, more when it asks to run the negative and all the numbers after it. Do we need to know what that all means? I'm gonna go with no, you don't need to know what all that means. There is an explanation somewhere, once again, on the Replenish website. It did not stick in my brain when I read those, like what those 3 numbers meant. So honestly, I don't remember and would have to look it up myself. But if you search once again within that Replenish group and you search like Aura numbers, you should find some posts about that that would be helpful in explaining that if you're interested in that.
Are you talking about like the Roman numerals and the letters?
I think that's what I'm thinking.
So there is, yes, a post in there. It's fascinating. You guys, the depth of stuff that comes up in here that we don't even know about, that it's just working on. Like it's just working and you don't even have consciousness of it. And then when you learn more about it, you're like, whoa, it was doing that. So the Aura scan, what I can tell you about those numbers is there's like the Roman numerals and the letters, there's a code that they go to, and a lot of it is ancestral, so inherited energy, and it even gets as specific as how many generations back in your aura that you've inherited energy or a pattern or a misalignment or a belief that needs aligning and correcting and healing. So yeah, you could spend a lot of time like studying that, and they have like a little key, like M equals grandparents, C equals great grandparents, Roman numeral 4 equals in the spirituality category, and then there's like a physical category, and so it's like very in depth, but it's so cool. And like the takeaway that I took away was, this is deep, multidimensional, layered healing generationally on all levels. That's how powerful the Aura program is. So there you go.
Melissa, do you know anything about where it has that button and asks if you want to run the negative frequencies?
I know. I remember asking that. I think I saw a reference to it at one point in the group, and that was something I chose to not like retain because I wasn't in that space at that time. But again, if you go in the Replenish group, I bet if you put in keyword Aura negative, you would have posts come up where someone's asked that, and then a really super smart Healy person has an explanation or a table or a chart or something that explains what it is.
Yeah. And I will say, just going back to like asking about like the flowers and the salts and the amino acids, there's some things that are explanatory on there, right? Like the Bach flowers, and I think the gems all kind of give an explanation of what that's doing, but the amino acids just give the amino acid and that's it. And so I sometimes will go and look up those amino acids, just Google them of what they are. So there is more information out there. It's just not always available through it's not pulling up on the Healy, like why that one's coming up, but I find them to still be very accurate when I do just a minute more research on my own afterwards. And then Melissa, if you just go back like where you were on that home button, every time you do a scan, it keeps a record of that. So if you hit the home button and go to the
list,
if you go to the list, it's going to list every scan that you have done for yourself and others to go back. So I don't have to like sit there and write everything or like write those amino acids.
Thank you so much. Because I was going to ask that, like, I want a record to go back and look, because then you would know what it worked on. And if, like Melissa was saying, like after her stomach and liver weren't having issues anymore, then it moved on to different programs or whatever. It would be nice to know that and like have a record. So thank you. You just go back to the home and then the list, and it has, I see it now, all the programs that I've run. Okay, awesome.
And in there you can search by name too. So like you don't have to scroll. Did you say that already? Sorry if you did.
No.
You can type the name in and it'll pull up.
Oh, that's awesome. And all the ones that I've input, you can just like click that and it will search. You don't even have to type it. Okay, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is so helpful. I am a total like hands-on learner. I mean, I can watch videos and stuff, but for me to ask questions and
Yeah.
have you tell me is so much easier. So thank you.
Good.
Yeah, you can ask in the group anytime too, and
Totally.
we'll help
Yeah.
you as best we can there.
Okay, awesome.
Does anybody have any other questions? I think that was all that. Let me
Yeah,
refresh the
thanks for
group and
that.
see if anything came up.
Melissa, I'm just gonna invite you to the replenish group.
Okay. You saw that I accepted, right?
Yes. And I would say like almost every question you have, there's at least one post in that replenish group
If
that
I
would,
do a search or something. Okay.
it's such
Yep.
a good database
Okay.
of
That's
knowledge.
so good. That will be really helpful. And honestly, I probably should have tried to do that in the other group too.
Oh, it's
just
fine. Also, just if you guys don't know, they do a frequency Friday. Looks like right now it's once a month. It's a Zoom call with like the founders and the creators of the Healy. They're German, and some of their heads of sales and CEOs. And they do a lot of in-depth on the product. So like a lot of the science, also up and coming, like what's coming down the chute for Healy, improvements they're making, glitches they're fixing, things they're updating. So in that group, you'll see regular posts. Stephen Keller is the admin of that group who's like way up in the team, right? We're under him somewhere. He usually posts when those frequency Fridays are, and you can register. It's a webinar to listen. I've noticed if you miss it, he has been linking the replay, but I don't know that he's been doing it every time because there's some that I don't see there. But it looks like they're doing it like the last Friday of the month. So you guys can look for that if you want to learn more from the actual like creators that have all those brains and know everything about the Healy, more than you'd ever want to know.
Awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
I had one more question actually when I saw your like, I don't even know what you call them, your electrodes or whatever you have on you, Melissa.
Mhm.
So I've only used those a handful of times. Normally I just run the program, like I have my Healy next to my phone because that's where I have the apps on, and I think I'm going to put it on a separate iPad so that I can still be using my phone. You know what I mean? Like have it on a different device. Is
Yeah.
that what you guys do? Do you just put those apps on a different device and then just have it run programs? And like you don't have to have your Healy by that device, right?
Mhm.
And you don't have to be wearing the electrodes, right?
Not for the resonance. For the
Okay.
resonance, you can just run it. And in the resonance, if it's on your phone, you can't go into other apps while it's running the resonance. It will stop it.
Yes, that's why I need to put it on a different device so that I
Yeah.
can still use it.
And
Yeah.
luckily, the resonance, usually you're not running it for long periods of time, like the microcurrents an hour. I say on average, I do the resonance 5 minutes tops per run.
Okay.
You can, like we've mentioned before, you can do the microcurrent without the straps, and you would just unhook this. There's a little 3-foot cloud around here of microcurrent that affects you on a cellular level.
So like putting it like on your shirt or something?
Or in your pocket. If your
Okay.
kids don't like it, because my kids get itchy, they're super sensitive to microcurrent. I can turn it down all the way and they're still itchy. And so I just run the microcurrent and I'm like, here, put it in your pocket while you're sleeping, while you're watching a show, while you're eating breakfast. If I don't want to run the resonance and I want them to have the microcurrent. Same with like pets. You could put it on a sleeping pet or buy a sleeping pet.
Okay. So wait, what's the difference between the resonance and then that? I know what app you're talking about. It's the one that I first had and I
The
didn't.
Bing app.
What did did you say?
The pink app that
Yeah.
analyze. Yeah.
Yes. What is the difference between that one and the resonance? Like what?
The resonance is essentially just giving you vibrations or that resonance into like the biofield. So it's
Okay.
just sending the energy out there.
Okay.
The other app, when you're hooking up to the electrodes, or you do have that option just to clip it to you or put it in your pocket,
Right.
it sends the actual program to the device.
Okay.
And it's running from the device, not your iPad or your phone at that point. It's coming through here and it is sending you the frequency. So it is a direct current that you can feel if you hook up to the electrodes.
Awesome.
And
Yeah,
it's
which
going
I
through
have.
a set of lots of frequencies to reprogram you to receive whatever the program is you're working on. So it's awesome with pain. I'll do it with pain all the time after I've been working on something. Put like the little pads on the back of my neck, run it for 20 minutes. It's better.
Awesome.
So that's, you use that program for direct microcurrent, but you're correct in that you don't necessarily always have to hook up to electrodes to still receive the benefits. And that's what the Healy coil will allow us to do when that comes out too. We talked about that at the beginning.
Okay. Thank you.
One question, like, I wondered about the two devices, like, so I just have the apps on my phone right now, but like, can I put them on my iPad and use the same Healy for either one?
Yes.
Okay, I
You
was
just-
worried that I would like lose something.
No, you need your master key for the resonance. The only thing is you can't put, my understanding is you can't put two resonances on the same device.
Okay,
So like
but I can have one device on
you could
my
have
iPad and one on my phone.
you could have
I
this
do.
on a, yep, you could do it on a couple different ones. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
I know.
Because sometimes I need my phone.
I know. And if you're running a Pink Dot app, you can go and use your phone. You guys know that, right? You can, so just make sure you're closed out of all apps. Anytime you're going to start to use a Healy, like any app for the Healy, close out of all your apps in your phone. That will get rid of glitches. And then once you start running this, like I can go out and I can like go into my other apps if I want to and search, do emails, and then I can go back. It's still running. You just can't do that with the resonance in case nobody knew that. But you all might know.
Also, is this true? I think I heard like if you're doing the Pink app and you're just doing it without the electrodes, just doing it with the thing, that you can even close, once it's downloaded, you can close out the app on your phone so the Bluetooth doesn't keep running.
I think I may have heard that somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know because that would actually turn your device off if you closed out of it.
Well, I've
And so then
noticed like when I turn it on, like to take it to bed, I've done that and I've then swiped out of the app once it's downloaded, and the green button keeps blinking for the time, but the Bluetooth goes off, and then when it's done, the green goes off. But if you don't swipe out, the blue keeps flashing. It will flash all night.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's okay then to swipe out of the app once it's downloaded onto the thing.
I haven't heard an official Healy person say that. Have you, Cam? But
no, I think as long as like you can leave the Pink Healy app because the program is here and running from here, not from your phone. But I know for me, if I actually close out of my app, it shuts down.
But I know what you're talking about, Jenny, because sometimes that green light keeps going. And I don't know, even when you close out of the app, and I don't really know what that means. That might be a good replenish question.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen somebody ask that. So that's a good question to ask there. Okay. I think we hit it all. How you ladies feeling? How you feeling, Cam?
Good.
Okay. That was longer than I thought. I was like, oh, this is gonna be so short. No, we always have so many fun things to say. Okay.
That was
Well,
actually really helpful for me because I kind of didn't know what I was doing. And now I feel a lot more confident. So thank you.
good. You're welcome. And again, the promo goes until April 30th. So if you have somebody interested, now is a really good time. Like if they're like, I want in on that, this is a really good time.
Is it the same price as Melissa as we got it for back in was it the fall? Or,
Yeah.
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 Okay, because I do have a friend that wanted to see mine, but I felt like I was a really bad representation because I didn't know what I was doing when she came and looked at mine. I'm like, I have no clue what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
so she actually, I'll talk to her after this because I think she is pretty interested. She does a lot of energy healing stuff.
Mhm.
And she's like, this would be nice to just be able to run some programs instead of just doing a lot of energy healing sessions like on her kids and stuff.
Yeah.
So she was interested in this. And so I will share more
Okay.
after this. And I'll send her, I think I gave her your Instagram name. So I think she's already following you.
Cool.
So that probably will help. And I know you're doing a live, I think, next
Mhm.
week.
Yeah, I'm hoping to do one next week where just for newbies that are like, what is this? What's it about? And then if you do sign someone up and they purchase it, you get a direct sale.
Okay.
Like you would get paid. So like with the promo price, let's just say she decided to buy a residence, you'd
Yeah.
get close to $400.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
it goes down with each edition. With
Okay.
you know, the lower editions, it goes down. So yeah, just something like good to know. We don't talk a lot about like the business side or the money side because we're like the energy people, right? But we're also
Right.
business people, and it's nice to know like that there's an exchange for sharing if you share with someone.
Totally.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, awesome. I will share, and then I'll tell her to look for your live too if she needs more information.
Cool.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks everybody. It was great
So
chatting.
just one more thing really fast.
Oh yeah.
To Melissa number 2 that showed up. You want to make sure when you are switching between that blue and pink app that you close out entirely of the other one or you won't be able to connect.
That's what was going on because I was trying to connect to the pink and
Yeah.
it wasn't connecting very well. And that's probably exactly what was going on. So I hadn't closed out of the blue yet.
You can't use 2 things on Bluetooth at the same time, essentially.
Okay,
So
that makes sense.
you have to actually close out to go back and forth between the 2. And
Those
then
are
you
things
take, and then you can take your
It's pretty
information.
intuitive.
Yeah. Yeah. But then you can take the information that you got in your resonance scan. Like, let's say you ran a pain program and back pain came up. You can then take that information to the pink app, hit pain, go to the back program, and then hook up to the electrodes for the pain.
Awesome.
So that's
awesome.
That's what you're utilizing, the analyzing information to run the frequency on the other app.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks.
And that, like I said, it should be intuitive, but I don't, like, I'm not a computer tech
Me
type
either.
person. So thank you for spelling that out.
Anytime. I'm glad this served you. Thanks for joining. Thanks, Jenny.
You're welcome.
Have a
I was
good-
just going to tell people if you guys have people that I don't know if anybody right off that does, but I was able to buy mine under with my HSA. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
that might be an option for people if you tell them, you know, some HSAs will
Yeah.
health savings accounts will let you do that. So that's kind of
No.
you know, makes
That's
it
awesome.
okay to buy it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's a lot of money.
And there's a few people that have purchased that I know who have used their HSA, a few people in our group. And yeah, because it's cleared by the FDA. So it's recognized as a medical support device.
And I know
That's
there's also some form that has to do with taxes and a medical device purchase of that as well. So there's a post about that in the Replenish group.
Oh, cool. Okay, I'll look that up too and pass that to my friend. Okay. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thanks,
Have a good night.
everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.